In today's video, we are going to be discussing the 538 House forecast. And yes, by what I mean by discussing is really trashing. In today's video, we are taking a look at why this forecast, in my opinion, is horrible. And if we didn't check out my 538 Senate forecast analysis, the video got deleted because there was no sound, in that video I said the Senate forecast was mediocre. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't too good either, but at least it wasn't too bad. But this forecast absolutely is. Now if we look at just the deluxe version, meaning basically the simplified version, how many seats both parties are likely to get, I have the Republicans at 240 seats and the Democrats at 195 seats, according to my previous House projection, if you count in the state of Louisiana. Now, in this forecast, you can see that around the 240 states region, there's still a lot of dots, so they aren't too much different from my own Senate forecast, from my own House forecast. That being said, on an individual state level, their projections are truly horrific. So yeah, I'm gonna get into those individual races. Starting from the first state on the map, the state of Washington. I have a pretty big problem with the 8th district. Kim Schroeder, the Democratic incumbent there, is up by 5 points according to 538, more than 5 points, and a likely Democratic characterization, meaning he has more than a 3/4 chance at winning this race. Here's the problem. In 2020, he only won by 3.6 points, and the district barely changed after redistricting. He got 0.2 points more Democratic, and the national environment is definitely not good for the Democratic Party. And for some reason, his margin of victory increases by more than a point compared to 2020. And worse still, his Republican challenger, although not a super good challenger, isn't particularly a bad challenger, and he is not a particularly good Democratic incumbent, so this likely the characterization is pretty much trash. I have this race as a 3.4 point Republican victory. Going to Oregon, the next state, I also have a problem with how they characterize the races. Oregon's 5th is about 2 to 3 points more Democratic than Oregon's 6th, and about another 1 to 2 points more Democratic, less Democratic than the 4th district. Here's the problem. In the 5th district, the Republicans are leading by 5. In the 6th district, though, a new drawn district with no Democratic incumbent in that race, the Democrats are up by more than 5. That's a 10-point difference in two districts that have a 3-point difference, less than a 3-point difference, on their partisan lean on the Cook Political Report and 538's own redistricting website. And in the 5th district, there was previously a Democratic incumbent. The 6th district is brand new, meaning there was no Democratic incumbent in this old seat. If you haven't figured that out, yeah, this forecast is pretty bad. Going to California, the map isn't particularly bad. But if we look at even Alaska, I have a problem with the state of Alaska. Here's the thing, Democrats have a 13% chance of winning this race to Republicans' 87. Guess what? That's also the probability that the Republicans and Democrats win the House. Republicans at 87% chance in Alaska if we add all the Republican candidates, and Democrats at 13% with Nancy Pelosi. But Democrats are clearly not going to win. In 2020, for instance, Democrats won the House, but they definitely did not win Alaska. They didn't even come as close as expected. They lost a seat by 9. That being said, they still won the House, though by a narrow majority. It was still a majority for Democrats in the House. So putting those two probabilities at equal footing, meaning if the Democrats won the House, they would have won Alaska. Yeah, that's pretty bad in my opinion. In Minnesota, I also have a problem with Angie Craig winning. She's not in a particularly Democratic-leaning seat. 538 has it at, I'm going to put out of 538. I believe they have the seat at a D+1, D+1 partisan lead, but that's on a neutral national environment. And as we all know, this environment is not good for the Democratic Party. And in 2020, in a similarly in a district I believe that was similarly in partisan lean. It was the exact same partisan lean. She only won by a margin of 2 points. So suddenly, for her margin to expand to 4 points in a much worse environment for the Democratic Party is quite concerning. And for Nevada, another state with 3 competitive races, I mean, I do have the Democrats winning the 4th seat, but I do have the Republicans winning the 1st and 3rd. Regardless, these races are super close, but still, I don't necessarily agree with some of their characterizations. Going to Arizona, I also have somewhat of a problem. In the 4th district in the state of Arizona, this race is not as close as they might characterize it. Like the Republicans, they don't really have a 30% chance there. And Tom O'Halloran this district is actually characterized pretty good, but I just want to point out the 4th district is definitely not going to go Republican. It does not have a 30% chance of going Republican. And if we look at the 6th district and Kilpatrick's district, it is still 8 points more Democratic than the district of Tom O'Halloran. That being said, this district is characterized as a 13-point Republican seat, opposed to a less than 9% Democratic Republican seat in the 2nd district. So yeah, these partisan leans and their characterizations and the partisan leans for many of these seats just simply don't add up. We go to another state, for instance, Michigan, with also one of the seats I really don't like. Peter Midger, according to this projection, is up by over 10 points against his Democratic challenger. That's right, this district is, according to this projection, has a better chance of going Republican than the state of Alaska. Well, the Michigan race is pretty much a pure toss-up between the Republicans and the Democrats. Alaska is definitely going to go Republican. And if we look at the partisan leans from these seats, according to 538, the state of Alaska has the R+15 partisan lean. What about the district in Michigan? Well, in the state of Michigan, I'm going to go to Michigan right here. So, according to 538 itself, this district has a D+3 partisan lane, so you can see how bad this forecast is. And also, Peter Midger also has a pretty substantial chance of actually losing his renomination in his Republican primary, which would pretty much flip the Republicans upside down in this race. And if we look at Texas, it isn't super bad, but again, the prediction isn't super bad. It's not good either, but whatever. I'm not going to pick on every single race because that will take on forever. I think for Iowa and Kansas, their predictions are decent, but going to Indiana, I have another problem. I don't think Frank G. Mervyn is only up by 4. He won his re-election in 2020 by a margin of over 16 points. So his district barely changed. It does not make sense that he's suddenly going to win by 4. While in the contrast for North Carolina's 1st, without a Democratic incumbent, Don Davis is also a mediocre candidate, not super good in quality, compared to Indiana's 1st Democratic incumbent, Frank G. Mervyn, who outran Joe Biden by a margin of, I believe, 5 points. In North Carolina, this district is about a seat that in a neutral environment would vote for Democrats by about 3-4 points, opposed to 10 points in Indiana's 1st. The district is actually more Democratic leading, according to 538, which is incredibly concerning, considering 1, they don't have a Democratic incumbent, 2nd, the district is like 7 points more Republican, but the 1st district in North Carolina still has a better chance of going Democrat than Indiana's 1st congressional district. Are you tired? I certainly am, but again, the video has to go on. For the state of Pennsylvania, I also have a couple problems here. The first problem I would want to point out is that looking at this projection here, I don't think that Matt Cartwright is gonna win. He's in this he barely won re-election. He won re-election in his seat by a margin of 3.5 points, while his district did not really change much from the old map. It actually became 1 point more Democratic leaning. He's still in a seat that's R+8 according to 538, and the national environment is not going on his favor. Susan Wild, on the other side, is in a district that Biden, I believe, did win. But according to 538 again, she has a much worse. She only has a 1 in 3 chance of winning re-election, while Mark Cartwright actually has over a 50% chance, meaning better than even odds at winning re-election, which again is quite concerning if we look at the past election results in the state of Pennsylvania as well. And yeah, so this forecast in many ways just does not make sense. And I'm gonna show you guys a couple, maybe 1 or 2 more races. I believe the final race I want to show you guys is the race in Connecticut's 5th. I have this race as a lean seat for the Democratic Party. I think the Democrats are going to win by about 4 to 5 points. But 538 somehow thinks this race is a toss-up, with the Democrats only having a 52 in 100 chance, and the Republicans having 48 out of 100 chance. So, yeah, I wouldn't say that this prediction is particularly biased towards one party, but I mean, it's the prediction does, although it still is slightly more Democratic leaning than my own prediction, it's pretty actually pretty matching compared to my own prediction. That being said, the individual races are just terrible, and really many of these races they simply don't make sense, frankly. Another race I might want to show you is that Steve Chabot in this race has a 9 in 10 chance of winning compared to the Democrats' 1 in 10 chance. But his district became His district became several points more Democratic from a seat that was R+8 to a seat that is D+3. That's an 11-point shift. Although he was able to win by 7, this race is sure to still be very competitive. But they have it as a R+10 seat. That is just ridiculous, in my opinion. And for Maryland 6, as well, there is a Democratic incumbent, but for some reason, they still think the Republicans are up by 1.5 points. And the Democrats only have 47.7% of the vote. So, very disappointing House prediction. I guess I shouldn't have expected. I mean, I thought they maybe gave the Democrats a 2 out of 10 chance or something. I thought this forecast may be slightly biased for the Democrats. The forecast itself, the numbers, they aren't that bad, but if we look at the individual races, they are very terrible. I am very disappointed. And yeah, so thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Be sure to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day, and bye.